Who wants you to become stupid? Intelligence, smartness, being clever, all rely on one very important ability we all have. If you are aware of that ability, if you know how to use that ability, you'll be able to handle problems, solve quarrels, and overcome barriers easily. The interesting thing is that the more you use that ability, your IQ goes up, and so does your bank account. Now, if you don't use that ability, or if you don't know how to use that ability, or if you are not aware that you even have that ability, your life will deteriorate. You'll understand less those you love most. You will sell less, you will promote less, you will make less money than what you can make. If you don't use that ability, you will lose friends. You will lose connections with people that can take you to huge success in business and in life. In short, you lose. You become less. You act less. You act less cleverly. And of course, you do not succeed in life as much as you could. Sad, but true. Now, the fascinating fact is that the source of all those problems is totally hidden from you. The specific person that causes those disasters is not in view as far as you are concerned. I'm sure you are dying to know what that ability is and how you get it. So here we go. It is coming. The most important ability in life, the ability that is most important for sales, relationships, love, engineering, planning, and even happiness, is a very specific ability. At first, it will seem too simple, but by the end of this recording, you will have a new view on life. Well, that ability is the ability to observe. Now, what's that? What does it mean? Observe can be defined as the ability to establish facts by assembling the full picture, right and wrong, good and bad. It is a causative action as opposed to looking. Looking would be accepting the information in view. It is passive. When you look, you are being an effect. For as long as you can't observe, find what is true for you, establish the full picture, become your own source, you will fail. The moment you will develop that ability, the ability to observe, you will get on the road to an inevitable success. Now let me explain. Basically, at any moment in time, you either observe or you look. Looking is a degree of blindness as you accept the information in view. Now, when you are blind, you are a robot that executes orders. And when you can observe, you are a person that makes decisions and gives orders. You are either the computing man or just a tool, a computer in use. The less you observe, the less you can decide, the more you operate based on the programmer's wishes that tell you what to think, what to do, what not to do. The question is, why? Why do you stop observing? Or how do you lose your ability to observe? The answer is the snake. Or more accurately, the relationship snake. What that person does is supply you with negative remarks about people in your life until that person causes you to distance yourself from that person or group. You will feel you need to reduce the number of communications, to weaken the connection, to cool down the relationship. Now, let's see how it works. Let's say we have a coach, Mark, that teaches people and helps them to do better in life. And let's say that our coach, Mark, hires one of his students, Bella, to help him help his students by doing marketing and sales. Bella is very good at what she does and promises to push Mark's purpose. Bella starts to work with Mark and gets to know his suppliers, his clients, and even his friends and family. Bella spread admiration and good about Mark, but from time to time, when she talks privately to Mark's clients, she makes sure she explains how much she loves Mark, but that he is not okay in the way he handled a specific situation. She says that now that she works closely with him, she realizes all kind of things, trying not to specify too much. She looks continuously for those people that have any kind of questions about Mark and spread her venom. But the venom is always covered with sugar, so the person hearing it will not fully feel he has been bitten. You get the idea. Let's take another example. Let's say Bob is a massage therapist and he hires Karen's marketing company. Karen is very good at what she does and Bob is very happy. He tells his friend George that he just hired Karen's company, and George says, "Karen from Best Marketing? No, tell me you didn't. She's the worst. She promises the world and never delivers. She's a snake. She knows how to talk but cannot do the work. You need to run and fast. I wish you have asked me before you closed with her." A good friend of mine lost a lot of money with her. That is how I met her the first time. She cheated him. And I understand she cheated many other business owners. This is stage 1, the poisoning. At this step, the snake injected the venom. Now, let's look at what will happen with Mark and his relationship with his client, and what will happen with Bob and Karen's relationship. There are 2 options. Number 1, what I call the blind, and number 2, what I call the spy. Now let's start with the blind. The blind will not want to get involved. They will not check the data. They will not want to get involved. They are blind and prefer to stay blind. Their computation is, the possibility of dirt is enough for me to decide it is dirty. In the case of the coach Mark, the client will ask for a refund and will say something like, "While I must admit the data you provide was mind-blowing, as I wrote in my success stories, I feel that what you teach will not work for me. So thank you for all the help, but it is not for me. Please refund me as promised." In the case of Bob and Karen's marketing company, Bob will write an email to Karen and will explain how he decided not to promote in the way she suggested. And he found a better way to do it. He will thank Karen for all the time she spent with him and for all the knowledge she gave him for free. He will also say that they may work together in the future. So what are we looking at? Stupidity. Stupidity is defined as, number 1, acting based on opinions and not based on observed data, with a worsened outcome. Number 2, following overt or covert orders without personally observed data. That's stupidity. Acting based on opinions and not based on observed data with a worsened outcome. And number 2, following overt or covert orders without personally observed data. And hence, all robots are stupid, and all stupid people are robots. The client in the case of Mark and Bob in the case of Karen both acted stupidly or robotically, as they did not act based on observed data, but based on covert or overt orders from the programmer. the snake Bella, and the snake George. Bob, that decided not to work with Karen, and the client that asked for a refund from Mark were both poisoned, and as a result ended up with a worsened outcome. Mark's coaching and Karen's marketing was working well until the snake came and destroyed a good thing. Bob, Karen's marketing client, and Mark's client did something that they would not want someone else to do to them. Be dropped with no real explanation, and by that committed a sin with all the implication of a sin. And I will explain on this in the future. But even worse, both admitted they cannot observe, and that alone puts them one notch down towards total robots. Now let's talk about the spy. The spy, on the other hand, decide that they will continue to work with Karen or Mark, but will check. They will check and will find out if what the snake said was true or false. Now this is actually fake observation. Why fake? When you check someone due to hidden reports, or even worse, due to an order, you do not observe, you spy. Spies work against enemies and look for anything that can harm or destroy the enemy. So when you go to observe based on a hidden report, you have decided, number one, the person you check is an enemy, and two, you are looking for anything that can harm that enemy. And guess what? In life, you find only those things you are looking for. It is much like having a judge that is going to pass judgment in a case of you versus John. But John is the judge's son's best friend. And the son keeps giving the judge hidden reports about all the bad things you have done. What do you think will happen? Exactly, fake observation. The judge becomes a spy. It is inevitable. For as long as the observation is based on a hidden communication, the judge will be a spy. I was once involved in an organization that did an internal hearing on a friend who was a member of that organization. The hearing was done by a committee of few staff appointed by some managers. The thing is that the managers decided that my friend was a criminal prior to the hearing, and the managers kept giving hidden communication to the staff on the committee. What do you think happened? Exactly, fake observation. The committee's member become, knowingly or unknowingly, spies. Why? One-sided information is always a lie. Hidden communication is always one-sided and is always a lie. That sounds harsh, but it is true. Every story, everything has two sides in this universe. If you agree to act based on one side of the story, it turns the information into venom and you into a spy. Venom is something that you get that can damage you if you don't get an antidote on time. And the antidote in our example is the other side of the story. In the case of Mark and Bob, the antidote is not there, it is missing. And so the relationships that got poisoned died. What makes a robot a robot? The other side of the story is missing, the programmer. Basically, when you go to check someone based on a hidden report, you are not observing, you are spying. And anything that Mark will do will seem to the client a suspect. And anything that Karen will do will be looked at by Bob with the purpose of finding what is wrong with it, totally ignoring what is right with it. Let's say Mark was busy and did not answer the client's WhatsApp message for a bit of time. The client said to himself, "Of course, I knew it. This is proof for what my friend told me." The client thinks that he sees, but he is blind. He observes through the poison. The poison acts as a filter. What we have here is the only condition that is worse than being blind. Being blind and thinking that you see. Poor thing. Karen now has the status of a suspected criminal, and Bob is the detective. So when Bob looks at Karen, he thinks he independently observes, but he's actually being led by the programmer, and he acts as a robot. If you watch the series Westworld, you know what I'm talking about. A robot that is sure he has independent observations and actions. So what is the handling? Never agree to accept hidden communications. The client should have come to Mark and say, "Look, I love what you have been delivering and I got great results, but I got this disturbing communication from Bella. And I want to find out what is your side of the story so I can decide what is the right thing to do." The client must give all of what he heard, regardless of how insulting or dirty or bad it is. Or in the case of Bob, he should have gone to Karen and said, "I really like what you told me, but my friend George told me," and give all the dirt. That you are the worst, that you promised the word and never delivered, that you are a snake, that you know how to talk but cannot do the walk. He suggested that I will run and fast, etc. One of few options will happen. 1. While you describe to Karen what your snake George was telling you, you will realize he did not give you any facts, but only generalities. 2. If he did give you facts, Karen will give you the other side of the story with full proof. And you will find out that the story is 180 degrees opposite to what the snake had to inject. 3. Very seldom you will find what your friend told you has some truth in it, and you will have to decide what the right thing to do is. The key is, if you're not willing to communicate, you become blind. The problem is, it will become worse. You will become more blind. The results are lower IQ and more problems. The sad thing is that you will never succeed for as long as you are not willing to communicate. So here is the handling. You can get poison about your spouse, your kids, your friends, your employees, your boss, your suppliers, your clients, your instructors, your lawyer, your enemies, God, anyone. Always communicate honestly with the person you got poison about. Give all the data you got and get his or her side of the story. Always observe for yourself. Find what is true for you based on your observation, based on your data. Never approach such situations from the viewpoint of an investigator or detective, or even worse, a spy. Never allow yourself to be blinded by opinions. The result: number 1, good relationships. Number 2, higher IQ. Number 3, a bigger bank account. Number 4, happiness. During the next few days, I will give you more data about this relationship snake and how to handle them. It is extremely important that you will actually understand the data and apply the drills. And here is the drill for you. I want you to look at a disagreement that you have, something that doesn't work well right now, either at work or at home. I want you to look at a disagreement and look back and find who gave you poison, who poisoned you. Now, it could be few people that poisoned you, but there is one person that poisoned you more than others. And what you need to do is to go to that person that you have bad relationship with and tell him, look, this is what I heard from Johnny, this is what I heard from Barbara, this is what I heard. Give him all the data and tell him, look, I want good relationship with you, and I know I need to give you the data, so at least you know what's going on and you can defend yourself. You can give me the right data. I know the story is different. I know the story is one-sided. And if you'll do that, you will see that the relationship will improve. Let me know how it's going. And if you have any questions, of course, you can ask me and I'll be very, very happy to answer. Have a beautiful day. Thank you very much for listening. Meir Ezra. Bye-bye.